Hey guys, Malika here from Malika Semper Astrology, and we are starting out April with a bang. There is a big, bright full moon in Libra on the very 1st of April. But before we get into that, just looking at the overview of April, we get a break. We get a break from the retrogrades, we get a break from the eclipses for a minute. Come mid-April, there's going to be 6 planets in Aries. Do you want to leave your house? I don't know. Do you want to hide under the bed? I don't know. That is a lot of Aries in the heavens. Very fiery. It could be very like overwhelming energy. We can certainly find our voice and our ability to fight for ourselves, but it can also be a lot with 6 planets in Aries. We have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Mars. I'm looking at the chart here, Saturn, and Neptune, all moving into Aries. Mid-month, though. And Mars really gets activated this month because there's major conjunctions with Mars and Saturn and Neptune. Let's talk about the first week of April, what stands out here. So we have a full moon in Libra. A full moon in Libra can be pretty docile. It's about creating balances in your life. It's about creating balance, especially in relationship. There's an opposition. The sun is in Aries and the moon is in Libra. So there's this ping pong happening in the heavens, and we can feel everything that happens above us, as above, so below. A ping pong between the self and what do I need, and my independence and my own autonomy and agency versus how do I nurture the others in my life? What do the others need? What do my relationships need more of? It can move into codependence with a full moon in Libra. So we want to watch for that. And what we want to do is we want to create the balance and the harmony between both. A little bit of independence and a little bit of interdependence so that the scales are balanced and we're not completely in the extremes of one or the other, right? Here, let me pull up the chart here so I can have a visual as I'm speaking to it as well. Um, so this particular moon is landing at 12 degrees of Libra. So what you want to do is you want to grab your own chart, put a little circle where 12 degrees of Libra lands in your own natal chart, and see what house that occupies. That area of life is going to be affected by this particular full moon. That area of life is asking for balance and equilibrium. And it's asking for peace and harmony to be cultivated and all those topics. So that's how you personalize, this particular full moon. Now, this full moon is happening. She'll be exact at 7:12 p.m. Of course, we'll feel her the whole day of April 1st, and we'll probably feel this building about a week before. Now, this is an interesting full moon because, yes, it's a big, bright full moon, but also there's what's called a T-square involved in this full moon. And that just simply means that there's a little bit of tension between some planets in the heavens that we will feel. Jupiter is in the mix, and Jupiter does not want to be left out of the party. So Jupiter is squaring this big fat full moon, and Jupiter is squaring the sun as well. All that to say, Jupiter amplifies, makes things feel larger than life. He overdoes it. So there could be this feeling of overcompensating, being overly involved or concerned with the other, over promising, over committing, overindulging, overspending. So this theme of overdoing it is definitely present with us. So now that we know this and we have the awareness of it, then we can start to work with this energy, right? But there is an amplification of this already amplified moon. So relationships could really come up in the forefront and center. And for some it could feel overwhelming because this moon in Libra is receiving like a microphone from Jupiter, if you will, and everything feels really blown out of the water in a sense. So if you are a Libra born between October 4th and October 8th, this full moon is right on your head. It's right on top of you. So you guys are going to feel this the very most. This can be a challenging full moon for our dear Capricorns and our dear Cancers, especially those Capricorns born between January 1st and January 5th. You guys are going to sort of feel the tension of this full moon the most. And also our Cancers born between July 2nd and July 7th. You can feel the tension of this full moon as well. So all that to say, the full moon, something has come to culmination. Something is ready to be let go of because something has come to its completion. It's time to harvest. It's time to pick and reap the benefits of the seeds we planted on the new moon. And so this does have to do with relationship. It could be the letting go of a relationship, but it can also be the letting go of certain parts or aspects of the relationship that weren't working. And then you're left with the parts that are working, right? But being very cognizant and aware of your dynamics with the others in your life during this full moon. We also want to just drop into the beauty of life. It would be a great week for the artists, right? The interior designers, the ones who create beauty around us. Aesthetically pleasing surroundings are really going to affect our um, emotional fulfillment. We want to create beauty in the wake of this particular full moon. So it's also a beautiful time to beautify your surroundings. Paint that wall that you've been wanting to paint, hang the art that's been sitting unframed in the corner of your closet forever. I'm speaking about myself. It's creating beauty, put up fresh flowers, it's light the candle that you never use. Things of that nature, because aesthetically pleasing things and surroundings do affect our well-being, especially with this full moon. Okay. Then the next big thing coming in, so we have this full moon week, that particular weekend, so April 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have a Scorpio moon the whole entire weekend. This will be an intense weekend. We're under that Aries sun with a Scorpio moon, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, April 3rd, 4th, and 5th. This is an intense combination. In fact, when I give readings and I read for somebody with strong Aries and strong Scorpio, we speak about the intensity that they came in with. They can feel it themselves. Other people can feel their intensity as well. It's a really intense combination. So this weekend is not for the faint of heart. This weekend really has themes of power, intensity, passion. We want what we want, and we don't tiptoe around going for it and getting it. It's a very sort of desirous weekend, right? We see our desires and we go after them with laser focus that moon in Scorpio brings in, and sort of blunt, reckless abandon, which that sun in Aries brings in. There's not a lot of forethought when we act this weekend. We're not asking for permission at all. We just simply want to fulfill those desires. We can be bossy about it. We can be pushy about it because of that Aries sun. But there's also a sense of strategic planning that comes in with that moon in Scorpio. We can have some good temper tantrums this weekend too. Aries is not known to be shy around temper tantrums, and Scorpio feels everything so deeply. So there's a sense of going into the depths of situations. Scorpio brings the shovel, and Scorpio digs and digs and digs until they get to the bottom of something. And here we have the Aries sun just sort of cheerleading Scorpio's intensity on. So, tread lightly this weekend. We can be met with some intense situations. The more that you claim your power, which is always a sort of Scorpio conversation, stepping into your own power and using it with kindness, stepping into your own power and using it with, grace, not being overbearing in it. The overbearing part can come in with Scorpio and with that Aries sun as well. So just being mindful of your steps this weekend. It is a beautiful weekend for intense, meaningful connection because of that moon in Scorpio. In fact, we don't want to do anything surfacey this weekend. And, if there's something that you have to do this weekend that takes a lot of guts or bravery or courage, the best weekend for it ever. The Aries sun really provides the bravado and the courage and the bravery and the being able to take the risk and step into something. And then that Scorpio comes in and just whispers, "You got this," and gives you that sense of power. Okay. All right, you guys, those are the two big things that stand out this week. And we have that full moon in Libra, an intense weekend to follow it. And I will be back for the second week of April here in a moment.